this guy's laptop, which is, we could have stopped 9/11 if we didn't have these ridiculous regulations. Now, I know everybody's up in arms about the Patriot Act and about, Homeland Security, which was created because of the awfulness of the CIA and the FBI not talking to each other. Now, to create a whole other government bureaucracy to help fix that problem is ridiculous, but that was its point. To deal with something in a police matter, you have to realize that there are certain things that are national security matters, which meaning that wartime matters are different than police matters. You can't always compare something to a guy on the street with a gun. I mean, you can. I mean, I've done it in this past conversation too, but it's not the same. Like, you wouldn't go after the Japanese after they attacked Pearl Harbor and say, you know what, we need to stop the killing. Now is not the time to stop the killing. If the war is over.
I mean, with those people, I mean, they were lied to, and their whole culture was that their leader, which was the
was holy.
Yeah, he was God.
Right.
So their whole purpose in life. I mean, they didn't have any real. They weren't Christians or Muslims. They didn't have like that kind of culture. I mean, their culture was, just to their country, and they had the whole.
But it was similar.
They had their culture like Bushido that was twisted so that it's only for their country.
Yep.
And so all these people were lied to, the children, the women, and so just because they're lied to and they were swayed to believe this certain way doesn't mean that it gives grounds for us to kill them all because they were lied to.
No, it doesn't. But you have to.
That's terrible.
It is terrible, but you have to put the onus of this horribleness on their leaders. Think about it this way. If you're being a zombie, is a perfect example. If you're being attacked by zombies, now it's unfortunate that they were bitten by the original zombie 1, case 1, and they became zombies. That's fine. But you're not going to sit there and try to negotiate this and figure it out as the zombie's coming at you. The zombie has to die because the zombie wants you dead, and that's all you're really thinking about. It's unfortunate that they were lied to, but then that goes on the Japanese leadership and the Japanese military leadership that got their country nuked twice. Once wasn't enough for them. They had to be nuked twice to be stopped. I mean, that's a serious guy who's
they had to be nuked twice for their leaders to stop. Because their leaders were so...
Correct.
Stubborn.
But you couldn't not kill them simply because their leaders have talked them into it. At the end of the day, they were trying to kill you. It's bad that they want to die.
The average citizen wasn't going to, row a paddle boat out to America and try and kill us.
No, but
the leaders, they were in charge of, the Navy and planes.
Right. Did you ever see?
It took that to get the leaders to stop all that, crazy shit.
Did you ever see Bill's Whittle's video when he attacked Jon Stewart when he called the president that dropped the A-bomb a war criminal? He goes into the history of why we dropped the nuclear bomb, and one of the great things that he talks about is that the Japanese civilians were armed to the teeth, ready with sticks and bamboos to take on any invading American forces. Meaning that if we hadn't dropped the bomb, we would have had to land American Marines down there. And
I know.
Yeah, the death toll would have been amazing. So it's not like, they weren't going to come over here.
No, I'm not saying that dropping the bomb was a bad thing. Like,
no, I know that.
In that case, in that situation, we did the right thing.
All right, I'm just saying that those civilians.
I'm sorry if I come across as a pussy.
You're not coming off as a pussy. You're coming off. This is.
Too much,
let me be honest.
I'm sick of people killing each other.
You're coming off as a guy who's sick and tired of war. And I'll be honest with you. I've noticed this in the Israeli leadership. If you've seen recently, there's a great YouTube video out there called "The Israeli Leadership Agrees with Ron Paul." And all these guys, you got to remember, when they get to that level, except for the last guy, Omer, who got in because the guy before him had a heart attack. Most of those guys were all involved in their country's early day wars. They're all generals. They've all seen combat. And they get older, and they get very tired of war, and it happens. You get very tired of seeing death and destruction. You're not coming off as a pussy. You're coming as a guy who values life, and a guy who's trying to find a way to survive and live and be a better person without having to kill. Unfortunately,
the cool thing is that we've both been there and done that, so we know what we're talking about,
Yeah,
it's not like we're people from completely different
backgrounds,
walks of life, trying to talk to each other, with fucked up ideas. But.
Yeah. This is not a college, let's get high and talk about the world and try to save the planet. You're actually...
Oh my God, I would go nuts if I tried this debate with some of the retards at school, but anyway.
Yeah. Because you're dealing with people who don't have any experience, And they like to think that they're very educated, and they're not. They don't know the real world. They don't understand the real world, and they may never. And it's rough. It's rough out there. I had to deal with a kid on one of the Facebook pages who was telling me that war. He had to be cajoled into be. He said that war is stupid, like a 2-year-old. War is stupid, and had to tell him, well, wait a minute. What about the Revolutionary War? What about World War II? What about the wars that brought us freedom, that freed Europe from tyranny? And he was still, and for the Revolutionary War, even the Revolutionary War, he couldn't come out straight and say, yes, that was a righteous war. Finally, like after an hour, he was able to go, okay, maybe that was a good idea. But it took me an hour to get that out of him.
Yeah, no, that's totally true.
Well, I'll say this for Ron Paul. I think that there's a problem politically that nobody's paying attention to. And I hate to sound like one of those political right-wing assholes, but that is me. But I'm shocked that they actually have those going to school, because from my experience, they don't do well in political science classes, because they're all run by leftists down here. But it's that the economy, if you understand the economy, what was supposed to happen in 2008 was we were supposed to go through a real economic crisis. You know, the whole thing where, hey, we saved us from an economic crisis. No, you put a Band-Aid on something. You're kind of like an alcoholic who hasn't reached bottom yet. And I think that we haven't, like, you know who Peter Schiff is?
It sounds familiar.
Peter Schiff runs Ron Paul's economic side of the campaign. He has a podcast and a radio show. You have to pay to listen to it. If you're smart, you can download it online if you know where to look.
Right.
And so I listen to him daily because, you know, I'm a big, you know, when it comes to the economic side, I'm a huge libertarian. So. And he says that, you know, what was supposed to happen in 2008 didn't happen yet, and we have just reached the tip of the iceberg if we think it's bad. It's just going to get worse. We need to reach our depths. And he actually thinks that none of the politicians, besides obviously Ron Paul, because that's, you know, that's his guy, is going to do anything that could actually get us out of this mess. And politically, this is a problem. I think that Obama is very weak, and I think a Republican candidate, whoever he is, may win. And then I think the economy is going to really start getting bad. And I honestly think that Ron Paul is the only guy that will actually get us out of that mess faster than other people. But I don't think the other people are equipped politically to explain to the American people that this is natural and this has to happen. They're just going to see him as like, well, you thought it was bad under Obama. Wait till the Republicans take office and look at the disaster that happens now. I don't know if they're that politically astute. Newt, maybe, but just because he's a loudmouth. But I don't know if they can handle it politically, and I think it's going to get a lot worse, and then it's going to get worse under a Republican president, and I don't know how politically they're going to handle with it. I've never really.
As far as Newt's concerned, I saw something the past couple days where some dude wrote a book on how he doesn't believe that our Constitution has any merit in this day and age, and it should be like redone, you know. And Newt actually wrote the foreword to this book. And
what is it called?
I guess he endorsed, you know, the whole thing, which is kind of scary. And just from the standpoint that, you know, his history, as far as
does he want a constitutional convention?
No, that's a good question. But he just, I guess, from what this says, it means that he doesn't believe in everything the Constitution says, which, as far as, you know, all of the, you know, Bill of Rights and everything. I mean, that's kind of fucking scary.
That is pretty scary. I mean, I would have to see. You don't remember what the name of the book is, do you?
I mean, don't sway your opinion just on something that I'm saying. But
well, I'm not a Newt guy.
If you can do some research, please do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not a Newt guy. I mean, all the problems that are coming up with his past. I mean, to be honest, you know, he was a great Speaker of the House. I mean, he was a conservative when conservative wasn't cool. He made Bill Clinton a moderate. You know, they love to run around and call Bill Clinton a moderate who had surpluses. That was all Newt. He couldn't have done that without Newt. He would have been a humongous Obama liberal if it wasn't for Newt. I mean, all the crime statistics going down, everything that good that happened under Clinton, all the economy, anything that good that happened under Clinton was all Newt because he shut the government down at some point. He just said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving in. This is something that Boehner can't seem to do. He doesn't have it in him to just go, I'm shutting it down, call me what you will. And Gingrich did. And I don't know why Gingrich doesn't talk to Boehner and tell him that he's got to have some balls to steal. Because, honestly, Obama is running against Boehner. He's not even running against a Republican candidate. He's going to say, you know, I tried to do this and that, but I have a do-nothing Congress. He's running against Boehner. And Boehner refuses to see that Obama is not his friend. And he should stop going over there and play footsie with the guy. But, yeah, you know, I see Newt as I guess what you could call a corrupt conservative, which would be better in my eyes than a moderate. Because I think a moderate actually really believes in his modernization and his non-constitutional ideas, whereas a corrupt conservative, quote unquote, is a guy who is corrupt, but he's a conservative, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I got you. And as far as being
like he's corrupt to his own ideals. Like I think really down inside he's a conservative, and if he has been corrupt in the past, it's been weird. The problem with Newt also is that he loves all these big ideas. He has all these ideas that he stop with I want you to do less. I don't want you to do more. I want you to get into the White House and not do stuff. He has all these ideas that he wants to do, and I wish he would have less of them and not talk so much and just not do so much.
Yeah, he seems to have a solution to all these problems that don't exist.
He's got a plan for this, and he's got a plan for not enough with the plan. Stop planning. Cut spending. Cut taxes.
Yeah. And he's just trying to sound like a pro.
He is. He actually is a pro. I actually I haven't read it yet, but it's only a small section.
He's a pro at duping people, I guess you could say.
I guess. I got Dick Cheney wrote a book about speakers of the House a long time ago that nobody seems to have realized or picked up. If you go on Amazon and look for it, just look under Dick Cheney. You'll see his recent book, and then you'll see.
People haven't seen it because they're trying to. I think they've had enough of Dick Cheney. That's why.
I love Dick Cheney. I didn't read his book. I read an autobiography on him by Bill Kristol from the Weekly Standard. And I started reading his book, and I realized that the Bill Kristol book is actually more in depth than his. I've read Rumsfeld's book. I've read George Bush's book. I haven't read Rove's book because he just sickened me. And I've read actually the most.
Who was that?
Who, Rove?
Yeah,
he annoys me.
Pisses you off.
Yeah, well, Karl Rove, because Karl Rove, you'll see him on TV on Fox, and he has his little whiteboard that he holds up, and he goes, "These are the numbers." He's called like I'm a 2-year-old, and I need a stupid board to tell me one thing. And he doesn't back conservative candidates. He's part of the Bush establishment. People call him, or Hannity calls him the Svengali, the mastermind that that got Bush elected twice. Listen. If people had to go down in court and fight over Chads for that first Bush election, it was no great victory. He won by a hair if he won at all. So why this guy is considered the great thinker, I don't know. This guy suffers just like most Republicans, they suffer, as Limbaugh said, from the Barry Goldwater loss. And they think that conservatives can't win. That they don't realize that through Goldwater came Reagan. Without Goldwater, there is no Reagan. And if you look at the New York politics, without William F. Buckley running for mayor of New York against John Lindsay, a fellow Republican, there would be no Rudy Giuliani. It's called passing the ball down the line. You have to bring conservatism to the forefront. And all these guys, because Goldwater lost huge. He lost huge. I don't even think he won his own state. He was slandered in the press. It was bad. It was really bad for conservatives, and the establishment suffers from this because they're all the old horse guard. They don't think conservatives win. They think conservatives lose, and honestly, they're not even that conservative themselves. So I got to listen to Karl Rove telling me that Christine O'Donnell can't win. I got to listen to him telling me that Marco Rubio can't win. I mean, who is this guy anyway? He won Bush by a hair. That's what he is. That's what he should be known for. Not as this great guy. Besides, he's the opposite of who I am. I'm an issues guy. I believe in issues. Constitution, it means I do what? It means I do this. I'm not how many votes do I need to get my candidate? And I don't do that. Everybody out there right now probably in the Ron Paul camp is trying to figure out how many signatures they can get. I mean, they're very active. I'll give them that. But that's not me. I state my positions and I say what I believe in, and I back candidates who I think believe in what I believe in.
So I guess you should change your name to Vets Against All Republican Candidates.
Vets Against All Republican Candidates. I wonder how that would go.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, right?
I've seen the Facebook page Vets for Obama.
What?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, my God.
I don't know who those are. I've run into a couple of them, and they're...
That's got to be a laugh.
It is, but it's very odd. But to me, I got to be honest, Vets for Ron Paul, to me, was shocking, and that's why I made Vets against Ron Paul, because you got to think, these guys are guys in the military. You can't tell me that people who signed up from 2003 to 2011 didn't believe in the mission that they were signing up for. That doesn't make any sense.
No. It's true. When I signed the papers in 2005, I totally believed it because I was brainwashed. I mean, I believed all this crap, but now when I look back and I say, was Iraq worth it? No, it wasn't.
Well, I'd give you this. Now it's not worth it. Now that they've pulled out, it's not worth it. But I went twice, and the difference that I saw in 2005 and 2008 are huge. I didn't fire a round in 2008. All I did was run around and blow up explosives that were left over. Nothing happened in 2008.
That's exactly what we did, too, in 2008.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing, and then you had SOFA came up in the middle of the tour, which means you really couldn't do anything because you had to get permission from the locals to go out. Nobody's doing that. So you do your little patrol around, and if there's an IED somewhere in the middle of the town that somebody's discovered, then you go out. Or you do Syrian border patrol. You go to, you do the highway patrol, or there was some